Welcome to Dark Crime Story. In today's episode, we explore a chilling tale of betrayal and murder in what should have been a tropical paradise. This is the case of Melanie Vandermeer, but our story isn't set in a faraway island escape. It's rooted in the heart of America's breadbasket, Omaha, Nebraska. Melanie Vandermeer, a 34-year-old banker, was living a life filled with ambition and intimate love. A graduate of Creighton College with a major in finance, she navigated her career with precision and passion. As a mother to 3-month-old Addison and wife to Peter Vandermeer, Melanie balanced the demands of modern motherhood with her career aspirations. Her colleagues at the First National Bank of Omaha remember her as a diligent worker, often staying late to ensure her clients' needs were met. In June 2005, her dedication was reflected in her impressive track record, a testament to her financial acumen and commitment to her family. Melanie was the nucleus of her household. On the surface, her relationship with Peter seemed to exemplify cooperation and mutual support. Her family, sister Emily and parents John and Diane, were fixtures in her life. They often gathered for family event for Sunday dinner, a tradition Melanie cherished. These intimate gatherings were a mix of old and new, where stories from the past mingled with discussions of the latest episode of Desperate Housewives, a show Melanie loved for its portrayal of complex women. Melanie's dreams extended beyond the boundaries of the world. Before her envisioned a future where her daughter would have the opportunities she had worked hard to secure. Just a few days before her death, Melanie spoke enthusiastically about her plans to enroll Addison in the prestigious Brownell Talbot School, ensuring a head start for her education. As Melanie and Peter boarded a flight to Cancun, the couple's only trip to celebrate their second wedding anniversary, her thoughts were a mixture of anticipation for the sandy beaches she had seen in Travel and Leisure magazine and a well-deserved vacation after a hard day of parenting. She had no idea that this journey to paradise would be her last on June 15, 2005, as the morning sun cast a golden glow over the white sands of Cancun. A somber discovery shattered the serenity of this tropical paradise around 6:30 a.m. as the resort town slowly came to life. Maria Hernandez, at the age of 8, a 2-year-old local girl known for her daily beach ritual, stumbled upon a haunting sight that haunted the peaceful shore and made headlines far beyond the Yucatan Peninsula. The body of Melanie Vandermeer was still wearing her AJ bikini, wearing a famous brand that appeared in the summer catalog that year, was found lifeless, being cradled by the gentle but relentless waves of the Gulf of Mexico. Maria, who had lived through Cancun's transformation from a sleepy fishing village to a bustling tourist hotspot, was no stranger to the occasional aftermath of the nightlife that had lingered on the beach. However, one side of Melanie's body was far from the norm. Local authorities were alerted in time thanks to a nearby tourist who lent Maria his Nokia mobile phone, a device that had become a staple in the connectivity of that era. Police arrived on the scene with a sense of urgency. The response time reflected the severity of the situation and the potential impact on Cancun's image as a safe and exotic getaway, often featured on Kai Nash's traveler page. The usually dreamy weather at this time of year seemed to be in mourning, with overcast skies and a light breeze offering no solace. First responders, the beach usually adorned with sunshades and brightly colored umbrellas, is now cordoned off with yellow tape, a stark contrast to the picturesque setting that has drawn Melanie and countless others to Maria's coast, with decades of life etched on her weathered face, a stoic calm that hides the shock of her discovery. Her statement to police was clear and concise, providing the initial story for the complex and heartbreaking investigation into the untimely death of a young mother and wife. The arrival of Quintana Roo police in the now isolated Cancun beach area swift, a testament to the Mexican government's commitment to maintaining the image of the resort as portrayed in glossy brochures, a sun-drenched getaway, away from the daily grind. Detectives Alejandro Ruiz and Sofia Blanco, seasoned officers with years of experience in common, encountered a scene that contrasted the natural beauty of the locale with a macabre story. June 15, 2015, the moment the morning sun cast a golden glow over the white sands of Cancun. A somber discovery shattered the serenity of this tropical paradise around 6:30 a.m. As the resort town slowly came to life, Maria Hernandez, at the age of 8, a 2-year-old local girl known for her daily beach ritual, stumbled upon a haunting sight that haunted the peaceful shore and made headlines far beyond the Yucatan Peninsula. The body of Melanie Vandermeer was still wearing her AJ bikini, wearing a famous brand that appeared in the summer catalog that year, was found lifeless, being cradled by the gentle but relentless waves of the Gulf of Mexico. Maria, who had lived through Cancun's transformation from a sleepy fishing village to a bustling tourist hotspot, was no stranger to the occasional aftermath of the nightlife that had lingered on the beach. However, one side of Melanie's body was far from the norm. Local authorities were alerted in time, thanks to a nearby tourist who lent Maria his Nokia mobile phone, a device that had become a staple in the connectivity of that era. Police arrived on the scene with a sense of urgency. The response time reflected the severity of the situation and the potential impact on Cancun's image as a safe and exotic getaway, often featured on Kai Nash's traveler page. The usually dreamy weather at this time of year seemed to be in mourning, with overcast skies and a light breeze offering no solace. First responders. The beach, usually adorned with sunshades and brightly colored umbrellas, is now cordoned off with yellow tape, a stark contrast to the picturesque setting that has drawn Melanie and countless others to Maria's coast. With decades of life etched on her weathered face, a stoic calm that hides the shock of her discovery, her statement to police was clear and concise, providing the initial story for the complex and heartbreaking investigation into the untimely death of a young mother and wife, the arrival of Quintana Roo police in the now isolated Cancun beach area swift, a testament to the Mexican government's commitment to maintaining the image of the resort as portrayed in glossy brochures, a sun-drenched getaway away from the daily grind. Detectives Alejandro Ruiz and Sofia Blanco, seasoned officers with years of experience in common, encountered a scene that contrasted the natural beauty of the locale with a macabre story. June 15, 2015, the moment the world, all eyes are usually on the developments of the Iraq War broadcast on CNN and other 24-hour news channels. But here the only conflict is between the serenity of the resort town and the violence suggested by discovery at its shore. The weather of the bombing, 82 degrees with a light breeze, seemed out of place. Given the severity of the crime scene, Detective Ruiz, with his stern demeanor and keen eye for detail, noted the absence of a struggle. The sand around Melan's body was undisturbed, except for the impressions left by Discovery Detective Blanco. Early in the morning, Maria Hernandez, known for her empathy and intuition, observed the serene expression of the victim, a stark contrast to the brutality of her death. The crime scene lacked the usual chaos that accompanies violence. There was no blood. There was no sign of a struggle. The detective speculated that Melanie had drowned, a theory that would later be confirmed by the medical examiner. The Gulf waters had cleared everything. Evidence immediately led investigators to rely on forensic methods have become increasingly sophisticated, even as shows like CSI Crime Scene Investigation popularized them to the public. Police meticulously documented the scene with digital cameras, a relatively new addition to their investigative toolkit. To document the area in detail, they collected sand and water samples near the body, in the hope that the growing field of forensic science might yield microscopic clues. The absence of Melanie's personal belongings suggested a robbery or an attempt to conceal her identity, further complicating the case. As the sun rose higher, casting a harsh light on the grim task at hand, detectives knew the answers they sought could be as elusive as the motive behind this tragic end to a vacation that promised relaxation and renewal. As the investigation into Melanie Vandermeer's untimely death unfolded, focus shifted to her husband, Peter Vandermeer, a counselor, 35-year-old financier among the swaying palms and sun-drenched beaches of Cancun. A stark contrast to the couple's peaceful life in Omaha, Nebraska, Peter finds himself at the center of a murder investigation with a reputation for ambition and a seemingly unwavering commitment to his family. Peter's life is under close scrutiny. Peter's media is being scrutinized by local government detectives. His calls and texts are being searched for inconsistencies in his account of their vacation, which coincided with the 2005 MTV Movie Awards buzz, an event that Melanie had been excitedly discussing during their trip during the interrogation held within the stark walls of the Cancun Police Department. Peter's composure fluctuated, as did the stock market he navigated for a living. He talked about their plans to visit the famous Chuchin at S.A. Ruined and how they had dined at the Hard Rock Cafe Cancun just the night before Melanie went missing. But when questioned about rumors of marital strife, his demeanor shifted. His hand, which had calmly folded a napkin from the cafe into neat squares on the table, was now clenched into a fist. Detectives noted Peter's restlessness when they asked about the couple's financial situation, the situation being believed to be stressed due to his recent investment in the property boom, seen by some as precarious following the housing market predictions of 2005. Peter vehemently denies any discord attributes any perceived stress to the normal stress of raising a new child and Melanie's ambitions to move up the corporate ladder at her bank. However, police have uncovered evidence of a number of heated exchanges between Peter and Melanie, captured on the hotel security cameras. These exchanges paint a picture of a relationship on the rocks. Despite the ideal setting, the investigation is further complicated by the discovery of a substantial life insurance policy taken out on Melanie with Peter as the sole welfare officer. A common trope and true crime story that raises eyebrows among investigators. As questioning continues into the evening, detectives know the burden of proof is on them. Cancun, a vibrant city with a pulse of life about night, and the whispers of Caribbean winds are now the backdrop to a story that has moved from romantic holiday to dark conspiracy. The investigation into Melanie Vander's death took a dramatic turn when he questioned Tommy Walker, a 23-year-old Australian backpacker whose nomadic lifestyle took him to the white sands of Cancun. The rough charm and the lure of adventure that seduced Melanie led to a secret affair that has now put him in the crosshairs of a murder investigation. Tommy's arrival in Cancun was part of a wider journey that included some of the world's most exotic locales, a journey he meticulously documented on his blog. A popular medium in the age of social media, his digital footprint included checking in at Cancun's Coco Bongo the night of June 14th. Which gave police a timeline of his activities. The interrogation took place against the backdrop of a series of the charity concert aimed at fighting global poverty, reflected the stark contrast between Tommy's free spirit, the existence and severity of the current situation. His defense is as steadfast as his global determination to make poverty history detectives probe Tommy about his relationship with Melanie, questioning whether jealousy could have driven him to a violent act. Boring Australian sport a bebong tank top and a tanned demeanor maintaining his innocence, he recounts their final encounter, insisting it was nothing more than a goodbye before he continues his trip to the next destination on his list, including the newly opened Hong Kong Disneyland. Although he maintains his innocence, police have suspected the case was poorly kept secret. Whispers have even reached staff at the Moon Palace Resort, where Vander mirrors Tommy's passport and belongings were confiscated, revealing a postcard addressed to Melanie. The message on the back was unfinished, and the tone was longing. As the interrogation ended, Tommy's fate hangs in the balance as the space shuttle Discovery was grounded by a fuel sensor failure that delayed its highly anticipated return flight. Investigators have been left wondering whether Tommy Walker's desire for freedom was overshadowed by a darker motive in June. On the 17th, as crowds of Cancun tourists reveled in the summer heat, a breakthrough emerged in the Vandermeer case. A local vendor was sifting through the sand to set up his beachside souvenir stand. The discovery of Melanie's missing purse, found just yards from the Moon Palace Resort, reignited the investigation with new urgency. The purse, a Coach leather bag, handed over by Sandy, a recent souvenir from Peter, contained more than the usual baggage of a vacation. Among the essentials are Melanie's hotel keycard, a half-empty bottle of banana boat sunscreen, a torn piece of paper with a cryptic message written in Melanie's own handwriting, a cryptic note partially smeared with sunscreen, which appears to be an incomplete sentence, or a scribbled note saying, "Meet in the sun." Whispered goodbye, a phrase that detectives speculate could refer to a clandestine rendezvous on the beach, perhaps with her lover Tommy or another unidentified individual. The contents of the purse were meticulously catalogued and analyzed. Forensic technicians scrubbed away fingerprints, while digital experts attempted to extract any potential data from the key card that could shed light on her final movements. An increasingly sophisticated technique, the case had all the makings of a thriller, the picturesque setting, the tragic end of a young mother, and a story rife with jealousy and potential betrayal. As the summer sun set on another day in paradise, the investigation into the death of Melanie Vander has taken a dramatic turn. Authorities hope the purse will be a game-changer and uncover the truth behind the tragedy. The idyllic shores of Cancun, usually a haven for sunbathers, have become the setting for a complex investigation as attention turns to Maria Hernandez, the 82-year-old local, who first stumbled upon the body of Melanie Vander Maria, a fixture on the beach who supported her family through what tourists left her life story. A stark contrast to the carefree tourists around her. Detectives dig into Maria's background, uncovering a life marked by resilience and hardship. Her daily routine remains as constant as the tides includes combing the beach every morning, a habit she has. Maintaining this consistency over the decades, along with her discovery of the body, made the authorities consider her a person of interest during the interrogation, which took place in a room as cold and clinical as the air-conditioned lobby of the nearby luxury resort. Maria remained calm. Her account was detailed and precise, reminiscent of the factual reporting style in the pages of National Geographic. There was an article about the resilience of the elderly. Investigators were probed for motives, speculated about a burglary gone wrong. However, Maria's history was devoid of any criminal entanglements, just as the pristine beaches she walked on were devoid of seaweed that washed ashore elsewhere. Her hands, despite years of labor, showed no signs of struggle, and her alibi for the time of Melanie's disappearance was confirmed by other locals as the interrogation progressed. Maria, despite initial suspicions, appeared more as a witness than a perpetrator. The detectives end their session with Maria. Her account leaves them with more questions than answers, the pursuit of justice. From Melanie Vandermeer continues. The case unfolds like the plot of a John Grisham novel. Each chapter reveals new complications. The investigation into the death of Melanie Vander Maria culminates in a revelation that will shock the quiet community of Cancun. Evidence, meticulously collected and analyzed by local law enforcement, points to an individual, Peter Vandermeer, the victim's husband. The man who claimed to be the grieving spouse has been exposed as the architect of a premeditated murder. Peter's facade begins to crumble as detectives piece together a timeline that contradicts his initial statements. Hotel surveillance footage that is time-stamped and clear in its storytelling shows Peter's movements on the night Melanie went missing. The footage reveals as much as the revelations outlined in Time magazine, contradicting his alibi. Further incriminating evidence emerged from the couple's electronic devices. Emails taken from Melanie BlackBerry, a device that has become a symbol of business. Media revealed a marriage fraught with tension and conflict. Peter's own laptop, a sleek Dell Inspiron that was advertised as the perfect tool for busy professionals, contained deleted files that were recovered by forensic experts. These files included internet searches for life insurance payouts and the consequences of saltwater submersion. The case against Peter Vandermeer is becoming clear as high-definition images are aired by a newly launched HD channel. The motive is a tapestry of betrayal, humiliation, and financial gain. Peter learned of Melanie's affair through a text message on her Noya phone, a model praised for its reliability, and the revelation sparked a murder plot fueled by jealousy and anger. In the days before the murder, Peter was seen buying an insurance policy, a large life insurance policy for Melanie. Naming herself the sole beneficiary of the policy, coupled with the couple's recent entry into an American Express travel insurance program, painted a grim picture of the calculation. As the local community digested the news, Cancun's idyllic image was temporarily overshadowed by a tale of family tragedy. The case against Peter Vandermeer was sealed. He was about to be arrested, and the facade of the perfect family vacation was shattered forever. As tropical storm clouds gathered over the Cancun skyline, on June 20th, another storm was brewing within range of the local police station, Peter Vandermeer, after the grieving husband was arrested by authorities in connection with the murder of his wife, Melanie Vander. The arrest marked a sober resolution, to a case that had rocked the coastal city, evidence against Peter steadily increased, with the meticulous work of the Cancun detectives reflecting the precision of a Swiss watch, a symbol of the luxury Peter aspired to provide for his family. The detectives built a detailed timeline of Melanie's final hours, confirmed by hotel surveillance footage and witness testimony. Now pointing irrefutably to Peter's involvement, his arrest took place discreetly away from the increasingly popular line of travel digital cameras like the Canon EOS 350D, which had been released earlier that year. Peter's demeanor during the arrest was one of disbelief. He seemed confused, like someone who had just woken up from a dream. His reality had irrevocably changed. The news of Peter's arrest spread, rapidly spreading through the local media with fervor. The case had all the elements of a primetime drama, and public interest was aroused. Melanie's family, who flew in from Nebraska, a state known for taxiing planes instead of sandy beaches, were at the police station. A mix of emotions, a palpable relief at the progress of the investigation, mixed with a deep sense of loss. The Vandermeer family had regularly attended the Heartland Church in their hometown, seeking solace in their faith. A faith now tested in the most tragic of circumstances, as Peter was booked into a jail cell by ES. The storm outside was raging over Cancun. The sound of rain falling on the roof of the police station, providing a somber soundtrack to the unfolding events. The arrest marked the beginning of a new chapter in the case, a chapter that would lead to the justice system, where the evidence would be weighed and a verdict rendered. The trial of Peter Vandermeer, set against the backdrop of a summer in Cancun, beginning with the weight of expectation. The evidence presented in court was as compelling as the latest investigative series. On the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, hotel surveillance footage of emails and a damning life insurance policy paint a portrait of a man driven to the brink by infidelity and financial lust. Defense attorney Miguel Torres, known for his forceful advocacy, like the defense strategies outlined in John Grisham's legal thriller, pleaded for leniency. He emphasized Peter's lack of criminal record and his role as a father, drawing parallels to the public sympathy for Martha Stewart, who had just returned to limelight following her own lawsuit. Oh, the courtroom, with its tense atmosphere, could have been the setting for a courtroom drama. A stark contrast to the usual calm of the seaside town. Mellon family ever present in the courtroom, clinging to each other. Their emotions were as turbulent as the recent hurricane season. As the verdict was read, the word guilty reverberated throughout the room, definitive and irrevocable. The sentence was then very severe, as if to match the severity of Peter's actions. The judge cited the premeditated nature of the crime, giving the sentence, which ensured Peter would spend most of his remaining years behind bars outside court. The media frenzy was reminiscent of the furore surrounding the 8 live concerts which took place that same summer. Opinion on the sentence was divided. Some felt justice had been served, while others argued the complexities of the human heart and the concept of retribution. As the Vandermeer case comes to a close, the family leaves the court to begin the arduous process of healing. The foundation established in Melanie's name promises to keep her memory alive, a testament to the enduring spirit of a life taken too soon. After the trial leaves Cancun intoxicated, life slowly returns to its rhythm. Maria Hernandez, the elderly woman on the beach who discovered Melanie's body. Vanda has returned to her daily search for treasure along the shore. Her brief encounter with the law has left its mark on her. But it is just another story in her long life, like the one she shares with her grandchildren. Tom Walker, an Australian backpacker, whose affair with Melanie has gotten him caught up in the investigation, continues his global journey. However, the carefree spirit he once displayed seems to have faded. The beaches of Cancun have been replaced by new horizons, but his travel block is now in shades of quieter, sometimes reminiscent of shadows of the past. The detectives who worked tirelessly on the case, Alejandro Ruiz and Sofia Blanco, received praise for their dedication. Their success in solving the case was discussed in law enforcement circles with the same respect. The latest advances in forensic technology were featured in magazines like Forensic Magazine. Family Milan returns to Omaha, seeks to honor her memory through social work. The foundation they founded focuses on supporting victims of domestic violence, a mission to provide a channel to share their pain and a legacy for Melanie. The Foundation's work has attracted attention similar to social justice goals, champion of celebrities at the Live 8 concert that summer. The Vandermeer case has become a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind the facade of marital bliss. It serves as a story that reflects the complexity of the human relationships explored in popular shows like Desperate Housewives dominated television screens, at a time when Cancun's palm trees swayed in the breeze and the turquoise waters of the Gulf of Mexico continued to lap at the sandy beaches. The tragedy of Melanie Vandermeer remains a painful chapter in the city's history, a tale of paradise lost to the destructive for forces of jealousy and revenge. The tragic case of Melanie Vandermeer reminds us that paradise can sometimes hide the darkest human emotions. As we close this chapter of True Crime Case Files, we are left to reflect on the fragility of life and the extent to which a broken heart will seek revenge. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay safe. True Crime Case Solvers. Interested in more real-life murder mysteries, remember to like and subscribe to our channel. And you have any thoughts on this case or have your own case you would like us to investigate, leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe through Crime Solvers.